Hi everybody, it's Robin from Roaming with Rover. Well, what are we going to talk about? I will tell you. As you know, I'm going to be going on a vacation pretty quick. I'm very, very lucky. I get to go on a cruise with a whole bunch of my girlfriends to celebrate one of their very big, important birthdays. We've been planning this cruise for almost 3 years. So this one is a long time coming. And I don't know about you guys, but when I go on a trip, one of the first things I do is plan what projects I'm going to take with me. And this one is a little different because I always take projects with me, and I always figure out how much time am I probably going to have to work on projects, and what am I going to take, and all of that kind of stuff. But this time we are going to have, okay, when we go on a cruise, usually it's 1 week or 2 weeks, and usually you have a certain number of days that you stop and on land and go do stuff, and then a certain number of sea days. Well, this time we're going to the Panama Canal. Super excited. Always wanted to go to the Panama Canal. So we've been looking forward to this for a very long time. And it is a 16-day cruise, I believe. And there's only 3 stops. So that means we've got 13 sea days. So that means there's going to be a ton of time for crocheting, which is wonderful because, as you guys know, as I have talked about previously, I have not gotten to do much what I call me crocheting, fun crocheting. I've been doing so much crocheting for craft fairs that I haven't got to do much crocheting that I want to do. So I've been thinking and talking and visiting and interacting with other people, and I came up with a list, and then I added to it because, you know, you always need more than what you think you're going to need, right? So I came up with a list of 6 things to take with me. Now, the other thing is, it can't be big stuff because it's got to fit in a suitcase. I can only take 2 suitcases, and the suitcases have to have all my stuff, all my clothes, and all the things that I need to take with me. So it's got to be small projects. It's got to be small amounts of yarn that turns into small projects. And I wanted it to be things that I want to do, but I also wanted it to be things that were on my actual list of things to do for this year. So it was quite a conundrum. I had to put a lot of thought into this. It couldn't just be any old thing. But I think I've come up with a pretty good list of things. So here we go. This is the list of things I'm taking with me to work on the cruise. I just found this in the bottom of my bag, which I'm going to need. I am going to need my fan. So, got my fan. So, number 1, and this is something that has to get done, so it's very important to take with me, and it's small. These are my ornaments for my ornament exchange with Dana and the Rad Girls. And if you don't know about the ornament exchange, I will put Dana's information down below. But basically what it is Dana from Wonderless Crochet has organized an ornament exchange with anybody who wants to be involved, and this is worldwide. So she's just making up a list of people, and when she gets 10 people, she starts another group, and those 10 people you'll make up 10 ornaments, and they have to be something that you can mail. So be aware of how big your ornament's going to be, and you're going to mail it off to the 10 people on your list. So you're going to mail 9 and keep 1, and you're going to exchange ornaments with those people. So at the end of the season, you'll have all these beautiful handmade crocheted ornaments from a list of new friends. You don't have to have a YouTube channel. It can just be anybody who wants to crochet. So get in contact with Miss Dana if that's something you want to be involved with. So I'm taking my ornaments. So now mine are green and white. And I've got the ornaments that I'm going to make. And then if I end up with extra yarn, which I'm sure I will, I've got a second ornament that I just want to make for my own self. So that's going. The second most important thing is, those of you who've been following me know we did the Lizzie blanket crochet along this year. And this is my leftover yarn from the Lizzie crochet along. Not a whole lot, but some of each color. And I've been wanting to use it up in a meaningful way. And I've been struggling to come up with how to use it up. And it finally hit me the other day. I'm going to knit a shawl, and I'm going to forget exactly what it's called. So you start at one corner with basically 2 or 3 stitches. And then so how am I going to do this? You're going to start at one corner, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you run out of yarn. I don't remember what kind of shawl they call it. So it's a triangle, but one side stays straight and the other side gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I chose knit because knitting does not take up as much yarn as crochet. And I'm just going to add on each color and just go till that color runs out. I think. I might change my mind on that. I haven't decided. But yeah, I'm not sure. But something like that. But the infinity, no, it's not an infinity shawl. I cannot remember what it's called. And I'm sure one of you guys will be able to tell me. But that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to make that kind of a shawl. I've already got, there's my knitting needles. I've already got my knitting needles pulled. And I've got all my little doohickeys pulled that I need to for this shawl. So that's the second thing. And I'm going to use up all of the rest of my Lizzie blanket yarn for a shawl, a knit shawl. And I really did think about several different ideas for that, but I wanted something that was special and that I could use on a regular basis and remind me of my beautiful Lizzie blanket. Okay, the third thing is, and this is a Christmas present that was already on my list of things to do this year. So I'm knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone. It's a Christmas present, and it was on my original list of items for the year. And this is a mosaic. Well, the pattern is for a blanket, but I'm making a table runner. It's a mosaic table runner. I wonder if there's a better picture. There is not. This is the pattern, but I'm only going to make a few of the squares. And it's these 3 colors that I'm going to be using: red, white, and black. So those are the 3 colors. And I am all ready to go. There's put those over there and these over here. I got stuff everywhere. Those in my little bag. So this is my third project. Again, it was on my list of things to do for this year, and I think 3 skeins is plenty because I'm only going to make 3 blocks, and they're 1-foot blocks, and I'm going to make 3 of them. So it's for a table runner for a kitchen island. So I think that's going to be plenty big enough. And I knew I was going to do a mosaic, and then when I saw this, it's just a little different looking. I thought that's the perfect design for this. So should use up the majority of that yarn for this project. So that's project number 1, 2, 3, right? Project number 3. And then the other 3, the last 3 aren't really in any order, except that's kind of a big project, that's kind of a medium project, and that's a small project. Let's go with this one. And the last 3 may not stay in the order that they're in. It just kind of depends on how it works out. This is a new project, and this is from Selena Baca. She does, if you follow Selena Baca from American Crochet Association, she puts out a free pattern every Friday. I'm not sure if you need to be, you probably need to be signed up for her newsletter, but it's just American Crochet association.org. Go on in there and you know, sign up for her newsletter. Every Friday she sends one out. She won't bombard you with emails. You just get one every Friday. And this is called the Sunset Wrap. And it's just an absolute beautiful design. And what I liked about it is this uses one skein of yarn. And it's the Lion brand Shawl in a Ball. How beautiful is that? Oh my gosh. Is that the color that she used on hers? I think it is. If it's not, it's darn close. Let's see what color she used. She used Community Coral. Mine is Pixie Pastel. Pastel Pixie. Boy, it is close though. It's really going to give off that same vibe, isn't it? Super pretty. So, when this showed up in my email, and I said to myself, I know I have some Shawl in a Ball. So this came out of my stash, didn't buy anything. As a matter of fact, there's not a single thing in any of these projects that I bought yarn for. Every stitch of it came out of my stash. Yay for me! Yay for me! Okay, so this takes one skein of yarn, and I'm pretty sure she used a different color for her edging. I'm not going to worry about that. If I need to do something like that after I get back, I'll worry about that later. I also kind of wanted to do something that I could make a shawl that I could wear on the ship. So this might actually get bumped up. Well, but I'll have my shawl that I made out of the rest of my Lizzie for that. Because that's what I was thinking when I originally grabbed this, was I could make a shawl to wear on the ship. When I grabbed it. Because at first I wasn't thinking I was going to need 6 projects. But then I knew better. So, one skein Shawl in the Ball. Oh, I think she used, yep, she must have. She used one skein of Sock-Ease, Lion brand Sock-Ease for her, because it's marshmallow, so that's what she used for her outside edging. I'm not going to worry about that until after I get home. I'll worry about that if I decide to do it. It's very pretty, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so there's that. So one skein of yarn for that, and I've got the instructions, and I've got my hook already pulled. So I've got my hook and instructions pulled for the mosaic, for the sock. I got my needles and instructions downloaded for the shawl, and I've got my hook and instructions and yarn for the ornaments ready to go. So they're all ready to go. And this will fit right in there. Okay, project number 5. Now, project number 5 is one I have wanted to do for a very long time. I remember when I saw this pattern, I found this pattern, doesn't have a date on it, but this was a free pattern from We Crochet, and I fell in love with it. Now, it's a Ruana, which a Ruana is kind of a cross between a blanket and a poncho. And imagine a poncho that does not close up in the front. So you just take this thing and wrap it all around you. Serape almost. Think of Clint Eastwood with this, you know, that thing he wraps all around. I've been in love with him forever. I love Ruanas. I've never made one. I've always wanted to make one. So this one has that little leaf design on the side. It's very, very plain except for that leaf design. And that's what caught my eye, was that leaf design. And okay, here we go. Here's another good design. Good picture. Very simple except for that. And I have wanted to make this thing probably 2 years. It's been on my list. And this was also on my list of things to make this year. Sorry, I gotta... So I had planned on taking this with me when I went to Texas to visit my grands, and it didn't go with me because I had all that craft fair stuff to work on. So it didn't go. So I already had it pulled. I already had the pattern pulled and the yarn pulled. I still got to pull, I have to pull a hook, and I need to do a gauge swatch because I'm substituting my yarn. Now, I don't do gauge swatches. I won't do a gauge swatch on any of this stuff. But when you're substituting yarn, that's a time when it's important to do a gauge swatch. Now, the yarn I'm using, I bought special for this project. And I cannot get any more because I bought this from Knit Picks. No, Knit Crate. Knit Crate. And as you guys know, Knit Crate is not around anymore. So what I have is what I have. So I'm using the Vitalina Trellis, that beautiful green, because I thought with that, see, with that leaves, I had to do a green. This is a chain spun, and it called for a superwash fine merino wool cashmere. That doesn't sound expensive. And this is a fingering weight, which this does not look like a fingering weight to me. I don't know, what do you guys think? It looks more like a 2 weight. I don't know, because this does not look like a fingering weight, but we'll see. I don't care how big this thing is. It's just a big old blanket as far as I'm concerned. So this is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, fingering weight, 400 yards, 100 grams, machine wash gentle, tumble dry low. And the gauge is 21, I don't know what this means. Maybe one of you guys know what this means. It says the gauge is 21-32 stitches, 4 inches. So does that mean, because usually it says 21 stitches in how many rows? I don't know what that means. 21, 32, 4 inches. Okay, you guys that are smarter than me, tell me what that gauge means. So can you see it? It says 21-32 stitches equals 4 inches. So is it 21 stitches and 32 rows equals 4 inches? Is that what that means? I think that's what that means. 21 stitches, 32 equals 4 rows. Oh no, wait. I see what it means. I see what it means. Because it says 2.25 and then it also says 3.5. So if I'm using a 2.25 hook, I should get 21 stitches. If I'm using a 3.5 hook, I should get 32 stitches. Right? I'm so confused. Somebody who knows what they're doing, please explain this to me, because I'm lost. I'm lost. Somebody help me, because I got to figure this out this week before I'm USB 1 E4. Okay, so they call for their yarn has 230 yards in 50 grams, and I have 200 yards in 50 grams. So their yarn is thinner, lighter. Right? Yeah, their yarn is thinner, because I said this is a thicker yarn. So I hope I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 skeins. I have 4,000 yards, and theirs calls for, I got way more. I got tons, right? Theirs calls for, the biggest size calls for 11 times 230. Theirs calls for 2,500 grams. I got plenty. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I am not even going to do a gauge swatch now. I'm just going to pick the biggest size and I'm going to go, right? I don't have to worry about it. Somebody tell me I'm fine. I'm going to use a 4.5, because this says to use a 7 hook, 4.5 mils, which is bigger than this calls for. So I'm going to use more, which is still fine because I've got almost double the amount of yarn that this calls for. I should still be more than fine. Yeah. I got to put this into balls. I got to wind this up, which I got a brand new ball winder and I've never used before. So we're going to make a video and see how that goes. So tell me I'm right though. It calls for 2,500 yards of a lighter weight. I've got almost 4,000 yards, so I should be fine. I should be more than fine, right? Right? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Okay, so that's project number 5, which I'm so excited about. I've wanted to make this forever. And project number 6 is this little doohickey. So in theory, this is sock weight. So in theory, this and this is supposed to be the same weight. There's no freaking way that this and this are the same. Look at the difference. There's no way. There's no way those are the same. And they're supposed to be the same weight. That just goes to show you guys how different weights are on things. So this is something that somebody told me about the other day. Our friend over at Alt Knots, and I'm terrible with names, you guys know that, but the site is called Alt Knots, and I've already downloaded the video, which I probably cannot find because I don't know where I put, oh, there it is. Alt Knots, it's called the Beginner Crochet Sock Pattern Step-by-Step Tutorial. And I've been told by more than one person that this is a really fun crocheted sock, and it's a shorty sock. And I suppose once I go through it a time or two, I'll be able to figure out how to make it a taller sock. But I just grabbed this out of my stash. I loved the color. It's called Drive All Night. That's funny. 454 yards. And I needed to double check because I did take a picture of the requirements for this sock pattern. Nope, that's not it. Where did it go? I did take a picture. Is that it? Nope, that's a different pattern. Here it is. So, sock weight, 50 grams, 2 hanks of 50 grams. It just says 2 hanks. But I think in her, because this is, 100 grams, 454 yards. So it's gonna be fine. You're supposed to be able to make 2 full-size socks out of this. So it should be fine to make 1 pair of ankle-size socks out of this. And I will go in and double check her video. And it seems to me when I watched part of the video, it did talk about the exact amount of yardage that you needed. And this was more than enough. She's talking, maybe it says it in here. Ooh. No. But I do know that she's a good teacher, and I've watched many of her videos, and everybody's all of the comments in her videos talk about how easy this was to follow and how much fun they had making them. And so I'm super excited to do this, because socks is one of those things that I've been wanting to do, you know, and I want to knit socks. I do, but this is going to be a fun way to do something where I don't have to. And that was the other thing, I wanted projects that I didn't have to think real hard, didn't have to do a lot of counting, and I wanted to do well. I'm going to have a bunch of my friends with me, so I want to be able to chit chat and visit and not have to, you know, nose to the grindstone, that kind of thing. So I thought these were great projects for that. I still have to pull needles for that, hooks for that, but it said 3.25, and one lady did go up a hook size, so I'll bring a couple of different sizes. I always do that anyway with a new project. So that's it. Those are my 6 projects. 2 of them are off of my original list of projects for the year. So that's pretty good. 1 of them is brand new. Never thought of, 2 of them are brand new. So the 2, the sock and the shawl from Selena, are brand new, never thought of before. The mosaic and the leaf shawl are off of my original from the very beginning year. The Lizzie, not from the beginning of the year. Well, sorta. Lizzie's from the beginning of the year, so the leftovers, I'm going to count that as from the beginning of the year. I'm going to count that as using up a whip. And then, of course, the ornaments is not new, but it's a whip. So I'm going to call that a score. And then look at my cute bag. I needed a bigger, my Notions bag, they weren't big enough to put, here was my problem. The Notions bags that I had were not big enough to put my knitting ruler in, because my knitting ruler was kind of big. So Miss Morgan did that for me. She made me a great big Notions bag that was big enough for my knitting ruler. So I've got all my different hooks and everything right there. So I have to have different hooks and things for 6 different projects. So we made me up a new Notions bag, a great big Notions bag. So I got my Notions bag with all the stuff in it, and I still got to put more stuff in there, but so I've got a new bag for the trip, and that's it. Super fun, and haven't done any packing, but I've got my projects ready to go. Thank you so much for popping in and listening to me ramble on today. I'm having a wonderful time. I'm so looking forward to doing some fun projects that have nothing to do with craft fair or anything like that. If you enjoyed this video at all today, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And I'd love it if you would subscribe. We have such a good time here, and I know there have not been a lot of videos out lately, but I promise I will get caught up. Once I get back from my trip, we'll get more videos out on a more regular basis. Thank you guys ever so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.